Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Friday, March 22nd, 2019, and here are some of today's trends in the news. That's right, trends in the news besides getting your Trend Vision 2020 video podcast. So what's going on in the markets? Over there in Asia, kind of flat. Over there in Europe, it's down. Here in the States, it's down. Gold's up, oil's down, Bitcoin pop. So what's happening here in the States? Stocks tumble on Friday as investors worried global economic growth could slow down following the Federal Reserve's cautious outlook from earlier in the week. And weak overseas data. You know what that is.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
What DEFCON 5? That's straight out bullshit. What do we had to wait for the Fed chair to say there was a slowdown overseas? We've been giving you the data over and over again. The data's been long hanging lower overseas. The numbers are coming out. Industrial production, service sector, everything going down. One country after another. What's holding it up here in the States? The Trump tax cut. Remember that one? Yeah. So, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed 460 points lower as bank stocks fell. An inverted yield curve, which some investors see as a signal of recession coming. So the spread between 3-month Treasury bill and the 10-year note turned negative for the first time since 2007. Panic of '08. Hey, read your Trends Journal. That's right. What's one of the ones in the newest edition? Trend Vision 2020, the Greatest Depression. As we've said, the only thing that will keep the bull running is that monetary methadone that the feds and the central banks have been injecting into the market. And you well know I have been saying the Fed wasn't going to raise interest rates in 2019. And if they did, the markets would go way lower. And what else did I say? Well, you heard it first from us. Watch for interest rate decreases this year, possibly 2 to 3 times. That's right. An inverted yield curve happens when short-term rates surpass their longer-term counterparts. This is considered by investors as a trustworthy indicator of recession coming in the future. It's the presidential reality show. And what are they going to do? Trump's going to do everything to stay in office. He's in the real estate business. They're going to bring rates down. You're already seeing the 30-year rate going down from almost 5% in November to 4.35. And there is a slowdown in housing around the world, from Canada to Australia, over to China. You name the place. They got a lot of problems over there. So gold went up today. How come? Well, you know why? Because it's a safe haven asset and people aren't feeling so safe. So if there's a global meltdown, and oil prices went down. Oil prices have been going up strongly. And as I've been saying, if they break over that $70, $75 a barrel, it's going to cost a lot on the economy because that's where the consumer's money is going to go rather than into retail. It'll slow GDP growth even more. But oil prices went down because they fear of a slowdown in the global economy. Norway rates rise boost krona as central bank bucks monetary policy trend. Yep, the central bank lifted the key interest rates 0.25 percentage point to the grand total of 1%. Nothing. And they're doing it to get rates up so when things slow down, they could bring them down. And I believe that's what's going to keep the United States economy running until 2020. Lower interest rates. They raised them 9 times since 2015. Again, they could bring them down, and I believe 2 to 3 times this year. What else do we have here? Service data point to sharpest slowdown. Washington. American spending on service slowed in the fourth quarter. Revenues across the U.S. service sector rose a seasonally adjusted 1.2%, the weakest pace of growth in 5 quarters. So, Trump says GDP would have topped 4% if Fed had halted rate hikes sooner. If we didn't have somebody raising interest rates and do quantitative tightening, we would have been over 4% instead of 3.1%, he said. Well, the economy actually grew 2.9% in 2018, and that may be getting adjusted even lower. But Trump's right. When they raised interest rates, that's why we came out with the economic 9/11 on September 19th, the day before the S&P peaked, because the Fed said they were going to be aggressively raising interest rates in 2019, between 3 to 4 times. Between 2 and 3 times. They couldn't do it. We knew that if they did it, they would bring the markets down, and the markets went down. We had the worst December Dow since the Great Depression. And what happened today with the markets? Again, down. You know when the worst day this year was? January 3rd, 2019. What happened on January 4th? Powell put. That's right. Trump pushed Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, and Fed chair came out on January 4th, the day that they showed that U.S. wage growth had its strongest yearly growth in 10 years, and the employment increased by 300,000+ jobs, which would have been a reason to raise interest rates, but Powell came out and said they'd be patient. So that's where we are, to put it in the scheme of things. So that's why you subscribe to the Trends Journal. You get information, history before it happens. You're on top of the trends and ahead of the news. I want to show you how dumbed down the news has become. This is the toilet paper of record, the New York Times. Here, take a look at these pictures. This is the front page of the business section. Look at these stupid pictures. A new social network that isn't really new, by Mike Isaac. I post regular messages on my mood, personified in photos of my dog. You know what that is.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
It's time shit. The toilet paper record. That's what it is. It's time shit. What the hell do I care about your mood? I spent a lot of money buying this newspaper. Where are you giving me information that's going to give me the current events forming future trends? You're not. And the whole world of media, the fourth estate, is dead. And that's why you subscribe to the Trends Journal. History before it happens. On to some global news. Brazil's ex-president is detained in probe. Oh yeah, when who's probing him? Yeah, guess what? Another country, another crook. A freak show. The greatest freak show on earth. Step right up, name the country. Here we go. Bolton vows action against Venezuela's Maduro. Says the window is closing. Hey, what happened to all options are on the table? How about that wanker expression? Trump aide, not aide, he's one of our national security advisors. That's right. Trump aide Bolton is once again taking the helm and threatening the Venezuelan government. National security advisor, right? Saying that the arrest of the opposition leader, chief of staff, quote, would not go unanswered. Mind your own damn business. How about that? Hey, Bolton, not going to go unanswered? Go tell him personally. Yeah, you look like a real fighter, man. Woo, woo, woo. What are you going to do? Hit him with your teddy bear? You tough-talking clowns. Anyway, moving on to clowns and killers. U.S. weed killer lawsuit proved toxic by bear. That's right, not a weed killer, a people killer. And you know about that lawsuit, and you can see their stocks are dying, falling. I should say dying, they kill. Shares in German pharmaceutical and chemical group took another plunge this week after San Francisco jury found that there was direct causal link between glyphosate and cancer. The product in question was Roundup, the weed killer. But here we go, front page story, Wall Street Journal. Farmers stay with Bayer herbicide. Roundup's low cost and effectiveness wins out for now over 2 cancer verdicts. Isn't that great? Yeah. Hey, you know all these people love kale? I don't like kale. Kale is now one of the most pesticide-contaminated vegetables. Yep, ranks the 3rd dirtiest produce item is by the Environmental Working Group. The watchdog group published its Dirty Dozen list annually, in which it ranks the 12 produce items that contain the highest amount of pesticide residues. Ranked along with kale, strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, and potatoes. I try to eat all organic, and I try to stay healthy in doing that. Everybody's worried about climate change. Climate change. What are you worried about climate change for? They're killing you with the poisons they're putting in the water, the earth, and in your food. Capisce? Or maybe you can't figure that out. Yeah, make sure you go out and go against climate change. Yeah, climate change is important, but you're going to die before they fix the climate change. Because sugary drinks may help fuel colon cancer tumors. Study suggests, yeah, keep drinking that junk. Facebook says it will start combating misinformation about vaccines. Pinterest is blocking search rules about vaccines to protest users from misinformation. Could you imagine that? Big Pharma is killing us by the millions. Look at the stuff, the opioid crisis, and you can't say anything bad. Hey, remember when the internet began and it was going to be the freedom of the world where you could say and do anything that you want? No more. It's a monopoly. It's been taken over and run by the government and the other criminal groups. Covert chemical warfare, 100,000 deaths per year. Medical News Today reports doctors wrote over 4 billion prescriptions for drugs in America. Don't you question them. Be a good little boy and girl. Yeah, that's why school, I can't stand it. I hated every day of it. Brainwashing sessions. In the U.S., there are 36 million serious adverse reactions to medical drugs per year. Isn't that terrific, huh? So, what does all this add up to? Go back to your Trends Journal. Facebook won't let you. Pinterest won't let you. One after another won't let you hear what they don't want you to say or hear. Censorship 2019, the big story in your Trends Journal. It's only going to get worse. It was a top trend for 2019. Obesity-related cancers rise among U.S. millennials. Hey, another one of your top trends for 2019. Yeah. Ready to explode. And we talk about the health dangers of it. Quote, the risk of cancer is increasing in young adults for half of the obesity-related cancers, with the increase steeper in progressively younger ages, said the senior editor of Surveillance and Health Service Research of the American Cancer Society. You are what you eat. And what's one of the other big trends in the new Trends Journal? You know what it is. The National Cannabis Freedom Act. Let we the people decide whether the government's going to control it Or it's just another plant of nature and tax it the same way. But the little low-life politicians are doing their deal with it. Legalizing marijuana hits hurdles in Albany. Murphy says pot bill fall, that's short of votes. And that was in New Jersey. You got these little clown politicians, criminal class of politicians, the criminals that criminalized it now want to cash in on it. Read your Trends Journal. Do what you can to support the National Cannabis Freedom Act on every ballot in the United States in the 2020 election. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's Trends in the News.